treat their teachers. Talking to the board or the administrators in this building is like shouting into the wind, and I won't waste my breath. But I would like to address my students, many of whom are watching the live stream tonight. The board or the administrators in this building is like shouting into the wind, and I won't waste my breath. But I conversation, but sent your lawyer instead. I finally understood that this just isn't going to work. The kids and I deserve better. Despite the accusation that we as teachers have not been focused on the students during this difficult year, I've been thinking the most about what my students are taking away from watching the way you treat their teachers. Talking to the board or the administrators in this building is like shouting into the wind, and I won't waste my breath.
You know, in the midst of all this confusion, there are always people who are rising to the surface, that are standing for what is right. And in this case, we have a powerful teacher speaking her mind against some of the crazy stuff that's going on in the school system today. And she quits her job after this one. This is powerful stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page if you happen to be new. Click the bell icon for more. Let's now get into the heart of this message.
There will be no clarifying questions. I don't answer to you anymore. My name is Amanda Kaufman, and I resign my position as teacher for the Shawnee Mission School District effective immediately. Several years ago, a good friend decided to leave education, and she said to me, "Amanda, teaching is like a bad marriage. You never get your needs met, but you stay in it for the kids." I didn't fully understand what she meant until this past month. Just like a bad relationship, our communication has broken down. You aren't listening. I thought that maybe like a troubled relationship, we could go to counseling, get an outside perspective to work out our differences. But when you failed to show up to the conversation, but sent your lawyer instead, I finally understood that this just isn't going to work. The kids and I deserve better.
Wow, that's a powerful analogy that she put together here in comparison to a marriage. I'm not sure how many of you have been through a bad marriage. If some of you have, you can definitely relate. Sometimes talking to certain individuals, depending on where they are in their mental status, they are not willing to change from their position. This is powerful stuff right here, because what she's saying here, in essence, the school system has become so dogmatic, should I say, so radical, so left-leaning, so driven by the woke culture, that talking to them is like talking to the wind. It's a waste of time. And the thing is, it's worse than a bad marriage because you can't even give them counsel. They've already divorced the students and the intellectuals from the purpose of what they were set out to do. They've already divorced themselves from these things, and they are determined to push forward an agenda. It is very obvious. Let's keep going.
Despite the accusation that we as teachers have not been focused on the students during this difficult year, I've been thinking the most about what my students are taking away from watching the way you treat their teachers. Talking to the board or the administrators in this building is like shouting into the wind, and I won't waste my breath. But I would like to address my students, many of whom are watching the live stream tonight. All right, guys, you all know that the most important lesson I want you to take away from your time with me is just because you can doesn't mean you should. Usually I'm applying that lesson to technology violations or intellectual bullying, but it's true in life as well. I could accept this contract, smile and stay silent about the lies the district perpetuates about its teachers, but that doesn't mean I should. I hope that in your future relationships, whether they be personal or professional, that you will walk away when you should.
Wow. So exceptional. This is what it takes. In essence, for change to take place, in order for to have a positive impact upon the culture for good, lasting, effective impact, it requires a level of sacrifice. You're going to have to go beyond the means of your comfortability to do the things that need to be done in order for change to take place. This is what it takes. Now, it cost her something, but I'm certainly sure this was not in vain. For so many of us who are talking about things, whatever it is we're discussing, right? Whether it is the medical science today and some of the things that's happening in that field, whether it's our educational system, whether it's our societal issues, whether it is the political sphere, in whichever angle you want to look at that, you cannot approach this matter in a very flamboyant manner. You're going to have to go beyond this happy-go-lucky attitude kind of thing. You're going to have to go hard. To a degree, it's going to require a level of sacrifice from us. And this teacher, Amanda, she made up her mind.
Just because you can accept less for yourself doesn't mean you should. Here's another important lesson. Despite what you may be told, respect should not have to be earned. It is owed to you as a human being, especially by those who have power over you in some way. Disrespect in an uneven power dynamic is bullying. When we see bullying, we must stand up and call it out, even when it's hard, even when it comes at a cost. Just because you could stay silent doesn't mean you should. Starting over is never easy. You 8th graders know that well as you prepare for high school.
Just because you can stay silent doesn't mean that you should. And I think part of the thing that is destroying our race today, we have too many people who know better, but are not willing to do better. We have too many people with the knowledge and the wisdom and the ability to bring about positive change in the world. But instead, so many of us are just cowering out in a corner somewhere, just making sure that we have our retirement intact. We have our future, our 401k. We are not willing to make any level of sacrifice. And this is why changes are not happening. But I'm certain there are some of us who are willing to go beyond and face the cancel culture for what it is and make the sacrifice needful to bring about positive change in the world. Some of us we do exist. There are some of us who are out there saying, we ain't gonna put up with this mess. And this teacher here is a primary example. Let's keep going.
Letter is never easy. You 8th graders know that well as you prepare for high school. Let me assure you, it only gets harder as you age. But just because you can stay in a familiar place doesn't mean you should. Go chase your dreams. Find your passions. Remember me in your acceptance speeches. But don't worry about me. I'm a highly educated, very talented teacher. They are in high demand right now in other districts. And finally, I don't know what I'll be doing when the bell rings at 8:40 tomorrow morning. But I won't be greeting you in the hallways. Please don't see my empty doorway as a sign that I've abandoned you or that I don't care. That empty doorway is my sign that you are still my favorite humans, and I will always be your biggest advocate. There will be no clarifying questions. I don't answer to you anymore.
Powerful. Powerful. This is what it takes for change to take place. It takes some boldness. It takes some firmness. It takes some sacrifice. It takes some, look at the enemy straight in the eye and tell them to their face where they're falling short from. Making a bold stand for these students is what it requires. This teacher here, oh, God bless Amanda Kaufman. I am certain she's going to be all right. God is going to take care of her. He's going to provide her needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Friends, where do you stand? Where do you stand in the midst of a crooked and perverse, corrupt culture where God is demoted and corruption is promoted? Where do you stand when we are told to confuse and shut your mouth and keep quiet and accept the culture, the powers that be, go along with the movement, Let the woke mob determine your conscience. Where do you stand? Do you bow the knees, or do you make a bold stand, or say, I will not bow even when it costs me my job? Where do you stand? And I must also say, this is what the Bible refers to as footman race. In other words, friends, this is not the worst of the worst. This, what we are looking at, friends, is only the beginning. And if you have any biblical knowledge, you should already know there are more troubles coming. First of all, we should already know that some of the things that we now see in our culture, in the direction things are going, not only were prophesied in scripture, but eventually we were even told some of us will be put to death because we are rising and standing against the corruption that is in this world. Now, we are told, my dear friends, they shall put you out of the synagogue. Indeed, the hour coming when whoever kills you will think that he is offering service to God. This is a different version. That's why I'm not used to this. Okay, this is what I'm used to. The time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service. So there is this notion that shut you down, kill you, cancel you if they have to, and they will say, I'm doing a service to God. But here is another passage of the same chapter. Look at verse 33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace, but in this world you shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Another promise I want to share with you very quickly. I'm going to go to 1 John instead. 1 John 4, verse 4 for that one. He says, you are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So in other words, my dear friends, victory is already ours if we make a stand, even when it costs us something. Sometimes it might cost us more than we want to pay. But the fact of the matter is, the impact you're going to have is going to be better than surrendering to the mob. To sit down and allow the culture, allow the sin of this world, the wickedness of the wicked, to continue to pervade and dominate and destroy our society, our educational system, our children, even controlling the speech of the masses, going as far to the conscience, saying, this is what you should call me. That's how you should talk to me. This is how you should even think when you see me. And we bow to that. The price we're going to pay is worse, than the supposed retaliation that we're trying to avoid. And I think it's time to make a bold stand. Amanda Kaufman, she made a bold stand. Yes, she lost her job, but every teacher should be thinking of what she just did here. In order for change to take place, I'm not saying you can't be in the system and fix it from within, but sometimes you got to step outside of the system to make a lasting impact. That's my thought and perspective on that. Share your thought and perspective with me as well in the comment below. Until next time, and as always, remember to look unto Jesus and to live by faith. Have a good one. Bye.